everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up close and personal in-depth look at this limited edition 2009 Ferrari F430 Scuderia 16M Spider. So this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Scuderia 16M. We'll start up, show the engine, get an exhaust clipping of the performance data, and show you much of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to extend a big thanks and special shout out to the Gold Coast Auto Gallery located in Chicago, Illinois for providing the Scuderia 16M Spider featured in today's in-depth review. For more information on the rest of their exotic inventory, check out bentleygoldcoast.com. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. The exterior color is known as Rosso Corsa, featuring a race-inspired black and red cloth interior with a heavy dose of carbon fiber trim. Not to mention some Alcantara accenting found throughout. Now, to start the F430, it's actually a two-step process. You're going to want to first go ahead and turn the vehicle's power on. Then, while depressing the brake, go ahead and hit the red accented button on the steering wheel. The F430 features a speed-sensing, hydraulically assisted rack and pinion steering setup fed through a carbon fiber wheel that incorporates perforated leather across the sides with grip bolsters that contain your horn buttons and soft Alcantara below with red stitching. The carbon fiber portion up top houses a strip of LEDs that illuminate above 6,000 RPM and increase in 500 RPM increments, letting you know the appropriate time to shift as you approach redline. We'll highlight this a little bit more later in the video as far as the unique functionality in the 16M, but on the bottom right hand corner, like in many Ferraris, is the vehicle's Manettino switch. It controls the various vehicle dynamic functions as well as modulating the traction and stability systems, sport, race, as well as low grip scenarios. It also shows up in the bottom of the tachometer which mode that you're currently in. The Scuderia benefits from a retooled version of Ferrari's F1 6-speed automated manual transmission, featuring revised software that decreases shifting times from the F430's 150 millisecond shifts to an astonishingly quick 60 millisecond. You can shift the vehicle automatically or manually via the carbon fiber paddles mounted behind the steering wheel. Launch control is standard, as is an electronically controlled limited slip differential. And so, we're going to flip on the bi-xenon projector headlamps, as well as the hazards. Windows are standard fully automatic and they're located on either side of the radio faceplate. So, let's go ahead and check out the exterior, shall we? In 2007, Ferrari introduced their latest endeavor in bringing F1 technology to the road. Launching as a 2008 model, the F430 Scuderia was the successor to the 360 Challenge Stradale, and represented a more engaging race-bred variant of the F430 Berlinetta, with added power, a highly modified suspension, and significantly reduced weight, competing with other like-minded cars like the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera and the Porsche 911 RS variants. 2008 was also an important year, with Ferrari achieving its 16th victory at the Formula 1 Constructors' World title. As a tribute, they created a new Scuderia based on the F430 Spider, known as the Scuderia 16M Spider, It was limited to just 499 units and contained all of the goodies found in the fixed roof counterpart, with the added benefit of open-air exhilaration, allowing occupants to take full aural pleasure in listening to 503 horses sing through a modified exhaust system. The 16M's list of changes mirror the fixed-roof Scuderia. While the standard F430 produces a healthy 483 horsepower, the 16M benefits from an additional 20 horsepower and 4 pound-feet of torque, thanks to a slight bump in compression, a low back pressure, freer flowing exhaust system, which also makes it significantly louder, and a modified carbon fiber intake manifold and air delivery system that eliminated the need for a pre-catalyst. Its lightweight design begins with a hefty dose of carbon fiber construction found throughout the interior and engine bay, in addition to losing excess sound deadening. Lightweight titanium springs and wheel nuts were added, along with a Lexan polycarbonate rear window. The double wishbone suspension received a makeover with new dampers and new steering box, while the front and rear fascias, diffuser, and flat underbody panels were also made of a lighter weight material. The 16M Spider weighs 176 pounds less than the standard drop top, making it about 200 pounds heavier than the Scuderia Coupe, which weighs in at just under 3,000 pounds. 57% of the vehicle's weight resides over the rear axle, and because it weighs so much less, the power-to-weight ratio was improved to just 6.1 pounds per horsepower. Even though power increases seem modest, the Scuderia is geared to accelerate harder in the lower revs, with 80% of the torque being available below 3,000 RPM. Handling was significantly improved thanks to a number of measures taken, including a 0.7-inch drop in ride height, unique Pirelli tires that are 10mm wider in front, and a 30% increase in torsional rigidity. The spring rates were also stiffened up by 35% in front and 32% in the rear. As far as the body, it's all designed to reduce lift and increase downforce. The modified front fascia features a wider central intake and a more defined splitter that helps channel the air around the front and underneath the vehicle. The flat underbody then channels the low-pressure air to the massive rear diffuser, creating a suction force that pulls the car closer to the ground at higher speeds. A more pronounced ducktail spoiler out back reduces lift even further. Because the exhaust is mounted at a relatively high point, that low-pressure air exiting actually works to help pull out the high-pressure air from the rear wheel wells through a mesh screen in the middle of the rear fascia, improving the drag coefficient, and a patented process dubbed base bleed, originally developed in the FXX project. Carbon fiber makes up the headlamp housings, diffuser, anti-roll bars, side view mirrors, and more. Also, the lateral radiator vents in this car are larger and reshaped with newly styled side sills that allow for more uniform pressure beneath the car. All in all, the Scuderia develops 165 pounds or 75 kilograms of downforce at 150 kilometers or 93 miles an hour, and more than 661 pounds of downforce or 300 kilograms at the vehicle's top speed. The F430's Manettino switch, as we talked about earlier, receives some choice upgrades when hit with the Scuderia treatment. Replacing the ICE mode is the new CT setting that allows for the driver to switch off the traction control while retaining the stability system. Not only that, you can even adjust the shocks to softer settings while in race mode or in any of the other two more extreme settings by a button in the center console. This allows for a similar level of performance with the added comfort while in rougher roads. The new F1 track system, activated in race mode, is designed to let drivers explore the limits of the car, guaranteeing maximum traction when exiting corners. By simultaneously controlling brake pressure, engine torque, and the locking differential, it adapts the car to appropriately place power where it's needed to allow for a 40% increase in acceleration while exiting the apex of a curve. Even at full throttle, it retains a modest level of control to keep it safe, but still allowing the car to be pushed even harder than it was before. Overall length is 177.6 inches with a width of 75.7 inches and a height of 47.9 inches riding on a 102.4 inch wheelbase. Total curb weight, as you see here, is around 3,175 pounds. The 16M Scuderia comes with its own wheel and tire package, consisting of satin dark gray 5 twin-spoke forged aluminum wheels that help reduce unsprung weight, with sticky Pirelli P0 Corsa tires. The wheels measure 19 by 8 inches in front with two 35/35 tires and 19 by 10 inches in the rear wrapped in two 85/35 tires. The The standard brakes for the Scuderia were larger, cross-drilled and ventilated carbon ceramics, measuring 15.7 by 1.4 inches in front with 6-piston calipers and 13.8 by 1.3 inches in the rear with 4-piston calipers. With this setup, the 16M is able to stop from 60 miles an hour in an astonishingly short 96 feet. As far as the suspension, the 16M features a fully independent forged double wishbone setup in the front and rear, with titanium helical springs, hollow anti-roll bars, and lighter adaptive dampers. So we're going to pop the engine cover. The F430 Scuderia is powered by an all-aluminum 4.3-liter dual-overhead cam 90-degree V8. Featuring a new ion sensing knock detection system that's integrated with the spark plug in each cylinder. The system detects the early onset of detonation, allowing the engine to run with the maximum amount of ignition advance to take full benefit of the higher compression ratio. It also carries 4 valves per cylinder, port fuel injection, a heightened compression ratio of 11.9 to 1, partly thanks to the new pistons, and an 8,640 RPM redline. It produces 503 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 347 pound-feet of torque at 5,250 RPM. This translates to a manufacturer-claimed 0 to 60 time of 3.7 seconds, with the quarter-mile flashing by in around 11.2 seconds at 126.7 miles an hour. Top speed is 196 miles an hour, just 2 miles an hour less than the coupe. As far as fuel economy, the 16M carries a 25-gallon tank and requires premium fuel. EPA estimates range between 11 miles to a gallon in the city and 16 on the highway. The interior of the 16M really shows the length Ferrari went to strip out unnecessary weight. There's no carpet or leather, nor are there any substantial creature comforts aside from the audio system and climate control. Carbon fiber makes up the majority of the panels, including the doors, the dash, and the center console. Lightweight aluminum also makes its way throughout, including the floor with grippy diamond plate pattern and exposed welds, which is a pretty cool touch. The only significant amount of padding are the touches of Alcantara across the dash. The doors do have a little storage pocket, but for the most part it's a fantastic amount of detail with the high-gloss carbon fiber. The unique Super Racing bucket seats feature shelves that are completely made from carbon fiber and wrapped in grippy cloth fabric with a red pattern to it and red color accent stitching. Of course, that's all customizable. They were available in a variety of sizes depending on your body type and came with a manual sliding and backrest adjustment layout. With deep bolsters and a high back, fixed headrests, they were designed to really grip you in a sharp curve. Pull the little lever behind the seat to flip the seat forward and reveal the high-gloss carbon fiber detailing behind. The holes in the seats provide mounting points for multi-adjustable racing harnesses. In back, there's a small parcel shelf if you need to stow some smaller items with a couple storage pockets. Coming across down below, you have a carbon fiber entry guard and aluminum kick plate as you come into the vehicle. The diamond-plated pattern coming across the floor pan, accentuating the minimalist layout. Ferrari also included a custom iPod Touch that docked in the center of the dash, providing the control point for their next-generation JBL 6-speaker professional audio system. If desired, a Becker Cascade radio with integrated Bluetooth and iPod connection was also available. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. show you how to use the convertible top. If you look towards the back of the center console, there's two switches here. The one on the left-hand side controls the top. To close, just push forward. It automatically starts rising out of the back. And of course, to put it back down, just pull it back, do the opposite. And we'll go ahead and shut her up. Even without all that extra sound deadening, the doors still close with a nice, solid thud. Like I said, the dash is entirely wrapped out of Alcantara with a signature red color accent stitching. The vents themselves, kind of aircraft inspired, are all surrounded in carbon fiber trim. Open and close by just twisting them back and forth, and of course, just twisting them to adjust. And that the 16M is a limited production vehicle, there's also a specific plaque located at the top of the dash. Continuing on down the center console, you also have your standard automatic climate control system, with your temperature adjustment in the middle, for cycling, fan speed, as well as different zones and front defrost. The central tunnel is all cloth lined, aside from the carbon fiber top. It also features your gear housing like I talked about earlier, your radio volume, small storage tray, adaptive dampers, lock and unlock, and your power mirrors. There's also a 12-volt power outlet. Continuing on back, you also have a leather and Alcantara wrapped e-brake, and now with a little bit of storage, and to the right-hand side of the power top is an electronic actuator that opens up a little storage compartment in the back. Very cool. Your visors are also wrapped in Alcantara, have a little card holder, and your rear view mirror is manually dimming. Up top is the vehicle's interior illumination. As far as the steering wheel, it's pretty devoid of controls, only what's necessary for your performance driving. The speedometer cluster, with the unique white tachometer, features red letters and the necessary vehicle diagnostic gauges. Speedometer off to the far right with your odometer, and fuel located at the very bottom. Turning on your parking lights, popping the boot up front, as well as your fuel cap release. There's also a driver info system here that shows up in the tachometer. Alrighty. And we're going to shut her down. Go ahead and pop the boot up front. And we'll go and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? The F430 up front has around 8.8 cubic feet of cargo space in all, not too bad for a primarily track-focused vehicle. It's lined in felt with some illumination and access to your air filter up top. The passenger seat also features the simple manual adjustments that you find on the driver's seat. And of course, the vehicle doesn't have a glove box, but has a little Alcantara storage pocket. And in case you haven't noticed, there's also an aluminum plate back there. It gives nice grip, especially to kind of position yourself in hard cornering. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at this 2009 Ferrari F430 16M Scuderia Spider. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.